Hey everybody, this is N6 here, or Brownfield, and today we are back with another video. Now today's video is going to be a Call of Duty discussion video. Now today's discussion is going to be, or the topic of today's Call of Duty discussion will be, what if OpTic Gaming loses at CoD Champs again this year? Now, you guys have been watching CoD competitive for a couple of years now. You obviously know OpTic Gaming is definitely a better team, or one of the better teams in the past recent years. But they've never been able to win a world championship in the past years. In Advanced Warfare, they were the fan favorites to win the world championship. People were saying that it was going to be a blowout, that there's no way another team had a chance. But again, if you guys have watched any CoD competitive in the past year or two, you know that OpTic Gaming got 8th place, or something around 8th or 6th place in CoD Champs last year. Now, really, I want to make this video because I was watching the CoD Call of Duty or CWL Stage 2 Finals, and OpTic Gaming got beat by the 7th seed Luminosity. Now, it got me thinking, what if they lose in CoD Champs? Like they did last year, or they underperform, or maybe they even get 2nd place again. Or not again. Or if they get 2nd place at all again, or if they just lose completely and get 8th place. So, I kind of thought of some scenarios of this is my opinion of what I think should happen, or maybe what OpTic should do, or the OpTic organization should do, and it's kind of like 3 scenarios, I should say. Now, this is my opinion. If you guys do not agree with this, please leave in a comment and say what your opinion is of what they should do. But let's get right into this. So, if they lose at CoD Champs this year, I think the main thing that should happen is there should be a roster change and someone should get dropped. Now, I've been thinking Scumpy and Crimsix cannot get dropped from OpTic. They are the core players of that team. Scumpy for sure. Players come to OpTic for Scumpy. They don't come for just because of the name. They come for Scumpy because he's such a good player. And Crimsix, obviously, he's such a good asset. He teaches a lot of players. He's a smart player, a great player, possibly the best player, possibly the best player of all time. You can't get rid of those 2 players. Now, let me get into the reason why I think Formal should be dropped if they lose. Even if Scumpy underperforms. Or any other player besides Formal, because Formal last year did underperform. Now, let me say why Karma shouldn't get actually dropped first. Karma is such a huge asset, not just because he's a great player, but because he's one of the best support players of all time, and they can maybe use him for trades later on when they do get better and they need another great player. Because he has such good trading value, I'd say, because he's such a great player that maybe, like, not literal teams, but teams that need more experience and teams that need a great leader and need teaching to go to. And he's the definition of a support player. He'll do anything. He's just a great teammate. So, that's why I would keep Karma. I mean, for God's sake, he won a world championship 2 years in a row, back to back. So, there you go. Now, Formal, I say, because what is the main thing about Formal? What's the main thing about Formal people like and OpTic like? He's a great assault rifle player. A great AR slayer. And that's what OpTic Gaming really needed. They didn't really have an AR slayer, so they picked up Formal. Now, this is why I think it's okay to drop Formal and not have your team be hurt that bad. Now, let me just say, all these scenarios are kind of like a rebuild, I guess you could say. So, you will never see just a full roster scenario. It's going to be people are going to leave or be changed. Now, especially in this year of competitive Call of Duty, you are seeing a lot of young stars really showing themselves, and a lot of young teams showing themselves as great players. And in that, there are a lot of great AR players, assault rifle players. One of them that comes to mind that I think would be a great change if they drop Formal is Octane. If they put Octane on that team, he will learn from Formal, he will learn from Crimsix, and he will become a great player. And I say this because Octane is still at a rising point. Formal, I guess you could say, is, but he kind of peaked too early in my opinion. And Octane really hasn't peaked yet. He's a great player, but he hasn't peaked. And I think if he, at the point of when he peaks, if he gets taught by Karma and Prim and a little bit of Scumpy, he's gonna be a phenomenal player. I think OpTic, in my opinion, will grow to be a better assault rifle player, maybe the best player in the league for assault rifle. So that is one scenario. Dropping Formal for an upcoming assault rifle slayer that they could be taught by Krim and Karma, or maybe get a veteran, but just you need to get another AR player. I would personally recommend one that is young and you could teach. So that is the first scenario. So second scenario is one that this is probably the one I would do, because I've really planned this one out in my head. Now, again, like I said, you cannot get rid of Krim, you cannot get rid of Scumpy, you cannot get rid of any of those players. But Karma and Formal you can get rid of. We already talked about how you can get rid of Formal. Now, let's talk about how you can get rid of Karma. Karma, you can get rid of because the thing with the young players, I think OpTic really needs to realize that if they need to stop beating a dead horse, and if they can't win a championship with the same players every year. Well, not every year, because last year at W, it was not the same players, but again, I'm saying this, if they lose this CoD Champs, I'm not saying they're going to, or already have, this is just if it does happen. If they don't lose, and they do win, just forget everything I threw at it, just throw everything out of the window, keep the same roster. But if they do lose, this is what should happen. So, Karma, I think you can expend him and Formal, because they need these younger players, the players that you can really teach. And like the two players I'm going to mention that I think would fit the role, the role for them perfectly, aren't the youngest players, but they're players that you could teach more and that are already good and already have major success. Both of these players I'm going to mention have gotten second place at CoD World Champs. It's in a W and Ghost. Well, not back to back, but you know what I'm trying to say. So get rid of Formal and Karma. And what roles are you missing? You're missing an AR Slayer and you're missing a support player. Now, what is OpTic's really, I guess you can say, weak spot? Now, in my opinion, their weak spot is S&D. It's always been S&D. They really need to work on their S&D. In my opinion, that is their weak spot. They're the best, like I say, respawn team in the league. So I would definitely say they need to work on respawns. So we need to get a player that is amazing at S&D, but can also fill one of those roles. Boom, Nagafen. Nagafen right off the bat, because one, he's a young player, you can teach him a lot, but he's also great. He got second place with Team Revenge, CoD World Champs for AW. A phenomenal player. He is a great assault rifle player. He can take that role perfectly. He can also snipe. He can play LMG, but he's definitely an assault rifle player. But the thing about it is, he is considered one of the best S&D players in the game. He is considered, some people consider him the best S&D player in the game. So if you pair him with a team that doesn't have great S&D, he can help them while they help him. It goes back to back, goes great. Now, Karma, what's a good support player that really is underrated but can do a little more? Study. Study can do a little more than Karma in the sense, well, you can do a little, because I think the thing with Karma is he has inconsistency when it comes to slaying. He's a great player, he does slay a lot, but it's a little inconsistent of when they need it. But Study, great slayer, great sniper, great support player, young, you can teach him some. I don't understand why teams aren't picking up Study. I think he's a great player. He would be a great part of this OpTic roster that I'm thinking in my head. So, let's look at the new OpTic roster that I made in my head. So you have Scumpy as your SMG player. Then you have Crim6 as, say, your SMG and Assault Rifle Slayer, because he can go back and back. Then you have Nagafen as your main AR. And then you have Study as your support player. Obviously, they're not going to win a championship right off the bat. Well, they might, you never know. But really, I feel like this team can win back-to-back if you give them a year. Because you're going to teach these players, they don't know that much, and they're going to become great, and their S&D players can become better. I feel like honestly those players fit well in an OpTic squad. So yeah, so the second scenario was Scumpy, Crim6, Nagafen, and Study and replace a Karma as formal. Now, the last scenario I'm going to talk about, probably the least likely scenario to happen, the one that's probably not going to happen, but again, you never know. This is a business. If OpTic Hex wants to do this, he'll do it. And honestly, this one is kind of interesting. I came up with one is very interesting. So let's look at it like this. Let's look at it. They lose, and OpTic Hex he's done. He doesn't care that Scumpy is one of the best players of all time. He doesn't care that Crim6 is one of the best players of all time. He doesn't care about Karma. He doesn't care about Formal. He drops his whole team and starts from scratch. So obviously, Scumpy and them go to different teams and all them. Now, OpTic is a free agent haven. Now, let me explain, well, first, why they would do this. Obviously, if you guys do know me and have watched my videos, I do talk about NBA, I guess you could say a lot. I'm not comparing this to NBA, but I will say I've seen teams that have gone into complete rebuild mode in NBA and turned out to be one of the best teams. Like, here's a great example, Houston Rockets. At one point were a terrible team, but then they went into rebuild mode, and they got Hakeem Olajuwon and, you know, a couple other great players, and won 2 championships when Michael Jordan left. That's something that OpTic Hex wants. He just wants at least 1 or 2 championships under OpTic Gaming's Call of Duty roster. That's what he wants. And I think if he does realize that he needs young guns to build under for the next 2 years, or maybe like 3 young guns and you know, like a veteran player. I think that really would be a good idea, but I think it's unlikely to happen. But again, he dropped his whole team, and let's bring back Nagafen, let's bring back Study, okay? Great players. Then, you bring in, now, this guy is an Australian player. People are comparing him to Scumpy, except he just needs kind of like a Rambo player to be around him like Scumpy had, so that way he can teach him a lot. His name is Nimble. I'm 90% sure he's on Orbit. He is a great SMG player. He almost plays picture perfect like Scumpy. He's a great player, and he just needs that veteran player to help him get better, and he will become a great player, maybe the best SMG player. He might be the best best Australian player in near future. Now, what have I been talking about? We need a veteran player to lead these players and to teach them a lot more. So, I've been thinking, we have a AR Slayer, we have a support, we have an SMG, we need the SMG AR player that Crim was. And Crim was a great leader and was a great veteran. Now, let's bring in J-Cap. Now, J-Cap is a world champion and was a second place champion for BO2, and then for Advanced Warfare he won the world championship. I would bring him in just because, maybe not even for the full roster, just to teach them for like a year. Then you can maybe drop him and pick up another great player, but I would pick him up because he is a great veteran. He is maybe the best veteran in my opinion in recent, that's still playing, that can teach these young guns a lot, especially Nimble. He can teach him the game inside and out. So, put together J-Cap, Nimble, Study, and Nagafen. You could rebuild that team, maybe in a year, drop J-Cap after you learn so much from him, pick up another great player, and then in 2 years, you could win a championship back-to-back. So yeah, that is my final scenario. Drop the whole team, try and pick up some players like that. So, that is all my scenarios, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did agree with at least one of the scenarios, please put in the comment if you did. If you want to give your own scenario, please put in the comments. So, if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next chapter.